Hello and welcome to this video about how to adapt the LearnPhonics planning to meet the needs of secondary school pupils. LearnPhonics is a great programme to use for additional lessons in secondary schools, as it is a relatively small scheme where you don't need to purchase or store additional resources. You only really need the planning and the PowerPoint slides and training at the low cost of £12 a month or £110 a year. Phonics isn't just for early years, and the idea that it must start and end there is incorrect. It can be life-changing for struggling secondary students. Many older pupils who find reading difficult have gaps in their foundational skills, and phonics provides a direct, effective way to bridge them. Improving reading isn't just about literacy, it unlocks access to the entire curriculum, and when students can decode words confidently, they engage more, they achieve more, and they regain that self-belief. Stronger literacy skills also open doors beyond school to further education, employment, and independence.
So let's find out how it all works.
The lessons can be taught every day and last between roughly 20 minutes to half an hour. You teach one sound or grapheme phoneme correspondence a day, building on and developing pre-existing knowledge and skills. Phonics is often associated with younger children, but with the increasing number of secondary school students who are still struggling to read and write, phonics lessons can be adapted to effectively support reading development at the secondary level. As LearnPhonics is so easy to teach due to the simple timeline of progression, planning format and PowerPoint slides, teachers or LSAs who are not familiar with phonics, so it might seem a bit of a scary thing to teach, will be able to deliver phonics lessons easily and effectively, dramatically and quickly improving reading attainment. I'll now show you how to quickly adapt the planning and slides to better suit older students, as the last thing we want is for secondary school pupils to feel infantilised or patronised in a phonics lesson. So for a start, I would call them something else, such as literacy skills or reading enhancement sessions. Pupils may associate the term phonics with primary school, which is something that we obviously want to avoid. So let's look at a typical lesson where students would be learning the sound, or the GPC, air.
So this is a typical weekly lesson, and we're going to look at the second lesson where we're learning the GPC air. So as you can see, the plan is split in two sections. So the first section is the teach section, where you teach the GPC and you teach some words as well. These are the words that your students will practice reading, practice spelling. Here they get to apply their learning by reading some sentences. And lastly, they will have a go at writing a sentence that contains the GPC of the day. Now actually, the only part of the planning you would need to adapt is probably just to leave out this part here where children learn a rhyme and an action to go with the sound, because obviously that is aimed at younger children. You can still have this discussion here that's in the teach section, but with a delivery that's more suited to the age of your pupils. So this example here might be a bit too young for your students, saying that they love the sound because it makes you happy, it makes your mouth sort of smile when you say it. But you could just have a brief discussion about maybe how the shape that your mouth makes when you say this sound. Everything else is perfectly okay to teach. It's simply practicing reading and writing words and sentences that contain the GPC being learned. I'd also use the correct terminology and say grapheme phoneme correspondence, or GPC for short, not sound, as again this may have connotations with primary school. Now we can move on to adapting the PowerPoint slides. So for a start, you can change the background colour of the slides to white if you think that will make them less childish, although bear in mind that yellow backgrounds can actually be really helpful for pupils with dyslexia. Next, we have these prompts at the start of each section. You can either delete the image, or you can just go through and delete all of the prompt pages that have that picture on. The prompts can actually be quite helpful for you as a teacher and also for the students because they know what is coming next. But if you feel like it's not necessary, they really don't need to be there. Now, in terms of the other images on the slides, it can be very helpful for students, particularly those with EAL or SEND, to have some visual aid to enhance their memory, but you may want to replace these cartoon style images with a photograph or delete them completely if necessary and just keep the word there to practice reading together. The benefit of having a photograph is for pupils with EAL to develop and build their vocab, so that would be down to your discretion. These blank lines on the board are obviously fine, they're just for you to write or type up the words that the students are to be reading, which you can just see there on the planning. These are true or false sentences, which are designed to obviously give pupils an opportunity to use and apply their learning, but also to develop their comprehension. You can change the sentence if you want, so long as it still contains a word that has the GPC you're learning, delete the picture or replace it with a similar photograph. Finally, you've got those lines again, and this is where pupils will have a go at writing a dictated sentence in their books or on a whiteboard, and once they've had a go, you can use the lines to then write the sentence correctly for them to self-correct.
So you can see these adaptations would take less than 5 minutes to make, and these lessons would have such a big impact on children's literacy, writing and reading skills.
And in terms of choosing whereabouts in the programme to start, you can look over this timeline of progression and get an idea of what sort of level your pupils are at. Phase 2 is mainly single letter sounds and 3-letter words. Phase 3 is where you start learning how 2 letters can make one sound, like EE in sheep or AI in rain. And from then on it gets slightly more complex with phases 5.5 part 1 and 2 teaching GPCs that are less common.
By seeing how phonics could work in secondary schools, we're giving students a second chance at success, and you can be a part of that difference. So please get in touch at admin@learnphonics.co.uk or head over to the website www.learnphonics.co.uk, where there is more information, there is free trials and some free downloads as well.